weird. It's kind of weird. What's going on, y'all? AttorneyTom here with a cool new haircut.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome back to another episode of reacting to the best subreddit on the internet, r/AttorneyTom. Let's start another 10 minutes of me saying it depends right now. Tom Heidecker. Look at this suit. Tim's suit was so bad. It was so baggy. Don't wear baggy suits. Look good. You don't need expensive suits. You just need good, clean, fitted suits.
Okay.
Boom. 69. Very pod. Is this legally binding? At someone if they don't at you back in 10 seconds, they have to change this to their profile pic for a day. So no, it is not binding. And the reason for that is there is no consideration. In order for a contract to be binding, there needs to be an offer, acceptance, and consideration. Consideration is something on their behalf, something for the person receiving it. Here, there is nothing that they are receiving. It can only end up bad for them. There's no benefit. Well, first hypothetical of the day, and it didn't depend. It's a new record. What is this?
You do the honors. Up against the wall, make sure there's no funny business, so nobody can doubt this.
I don't have an OnlyFans yet. I'm gonna link my OnlyFans to this video. Subscribe to OnlyFans AttorneyTom feet pic. Y'all are ridiculous. And since we're already here, look at this. I'm clearly 6'1". Look at Matthew, who's editing this video. Look at me. There's no funny business. I even took off the shoes. After this, go watch the full video. 6'1", easy. Hypothetical question. If I were to successfully force a dormant volcano to erupt and create a suitable environment to grow tea leaves, what crime would I face other than maybe terrorism and manslaughter? Well, I would argue that if you purposely awoken a dormant volcano, it is foreseeable that some people could get hurt, especially people who live near the area. So yeah, if somebody got injured or killed, if they got killed, it might have been manslaughter. Might be manslaughter because you didn't intend to kill them. It's all just going to depend. It's going to depend on where the volcano is, what the rules of that jurisdiction are, what the laws of the jurisdiction are, and what exactly happened, the fact-specific scenario. But I certainly think you can make a very easy argument that if you awaken a dormant volcano on purpose and it was solely you, meaning there were no other causes, then it is foreseeable that other people could be hurt, so you could be held liable in some capacity. But it's gonna depend. Don't you love it when I give y'all firm, straightforward answers? Do we have a right of revolution? Legal philosophy question for AttorneyTom or anyone else who wants to wishes. Governments are instituted among men, deriving just powers for consent of the governed. That whoever any form of government becomes destructive by these means, it is the right of the people to alter it or abolish it. Okay, before we even get going further down this rabbit hole, here's the logistics. Whether or not you have a right is almost irrelevant. So even if you have a right, wrong, or indifferent, you better be willing to face the consequences if it doesn't work out. And I feel pretty comfortable with saying that statement across any example in history. Because the people in the government or the supporters of said government are gonna say that there's nothing wrong with the government and you're the problem. And if you fail in a revolution attempt, you will face the consequences. So maybe Tom's philosophy, my philosophy, is more pragmatic than philosophical, because in reality, that's not really a thing. Random scenario, say you're on a talk show with a face cam and you go into the nude before anyone can stop you. Would this be public indecency or not because you're in your house? It probably would be public indecency because you're projecting yourself to many people around the world because you're on a TV show. But realistically, talk shows aren't live, and I think even if they are live, there's like a 15-second delay. So if you did that, it still probably wouldn't get out to the public. Hate to burst your bubble. When the state takes your law license for kicking children, they can't just do that! not drop kick toddlers. Drop kicking toddler would be justified. No! No! Oh my god. You're taking my words out of context. The age-old answer to every legal question. Oh, reliable. It depends. Yes. And this is true because there are so many different factors in the law. It's going to depend on what state you're in. It's going to depend on what the charge is. It's going to depend on what court you're in, how the judge interprets the law. It's going to depend on who the prosecutor is in a criminal case. It's going to depend who sits on the jury. It's going to depend on like 5,000 different things. So nobody can ever give you a concrete answer. It depends. Oh, by the way, while we're here, I want to start naming this segment It Depends. And I want to commission someone to sing the song, the Lawai song, PewDiePie's Lawai song, but for It Depends. What's the difference between felony murder and manslaughter? This is actually a great question because in both felony murder and manslaughter, you don't need intent to cause the death. Now, the obvious difference is felony murder happens in the course and scope of another felony, such as robbing a house. Manslaughter can occur in something that is not necessarily an underlying felony. The most prevalent example I can think of for manslaughter is like texting and driving. That necessarily isn't a felony, but texting and driving can still definitely cause grievous bodily harm and death. Now, the second thing I want to note about this is causation. So during felony murder, you don't have to be the one who actually causes the death. I like to give the example of the high-speed police chase. You robbed a bank and now you're in a high-speed police chase. There's 20 cars behind you, 20 cop cars behind you chasing you. And one of the cop cars trying to catch up to you slams into a pedestrian and kills them. You didn't slam into the pedestrian and kill them. The cop car did. But because this happened during the felony that you're committing, you can be charged and convicted of felony murder. For manslaughter, you actually have to be the cause and fact of the event. So going back to the texting, you texting and then you run somebody over. So you didn't intend to kill them and you probably weren't committing an underlying felony necessarily, but you acted with such reckless indifference for human life that it was foreseeable that you were going to kill somebody. That makes sense? That was a very interesting and good question. It depends. Just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. This is absolutely right. It is the government's job to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you did it. They have the burden. And maybe what you did isn't necessarily a crime. Attorney Tom, look how freaking cool this is. Abstract Tom. Abstract. New sister subreddit. r/AttorneyTom feet pics. 16 days ago? How have I missed this? Oh, no. 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 Oh, this it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Where did this come from? Oh no. All right, we're gonna forget about this subreddit. You didn't see it. All right, y'all, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. We had a bunch of fun. Consider subscribing to this channel where I think we just passed 323,000 subscribers. Hit that like button. It does me a big favor if you do. It pushes the video out on the YouTube algorithm so more people can enjoy and watch our content. Thank y'all so much for everything. I love this community. We're having a lot of fun. Ask your questions in the subreddit below. There are still a ton more questions which I didn't get to answer that I'm going to answer shortly. All right, y'all. Talk to you later. Bye.